Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at this really interesting research paper that you sent me
Okay.
about using AI to analyze the gut microbiome's connection to Alzheimer's disease.
Right.
And I'm really excited to kind of dig into this with you. And I know you're really interested in seeing how this new AI framework called
Mhm.
ADAM-1
Sure.
could potentially, impact Alzheimer's research.
Absolutely.
What I think is really cool about this is that it's a multi-agent system.
Yeah.
It's almost like a team of AI specialists working together to solve this problem.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
Really?
Yeah. Before we get into that though,
Okay.
I think it's really important to establish why this research is so crucial.
Okay.
Alzheimer's disease poses this growing challenge,
Right.
and we really need new approaches to diagnosis and treatment.
Absolutely. And I've been reading a lot about how scientists are becoming increasingly interested in the link between the gut microbiome and the brain,
Absolutely.
particularly in relation to Alzheimer's.
You're right on track.
Really?
Research suggests that changes in the gut microbiome could actually be linked to the development of Alzheimer's.
Wow.
However, current research often faces limitations because of small, fragmented data sets,
Yeah,
making it difficult to get a complete picture.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how does ADAM-1 fit into all of this?
Well, ADAM-1 is designed to overcome those limitations
Okay.
by analyzing this complex data,
Okay.
including the microbiome and clinical information.
Gotcha.
And what it does is it provides a more holistic understanding.
Okay.
It uses something called retrieval augmented generation,
Oh, wow.
or RAG, which
Oh,
means it can access and understand relevant scientific literature.
hold on, it can read scientific papers.
Pretty much.
That's incredible. So
Yeah.
it's like having this massive research library at its disposal,
Yeah.
constantly updating its knowledge.
Precisely.
Wow.
This ability to integrate information from countless publications
Yeah.
adds this whole other layer of intelligence to its analysis.
That's fascinating. I have to admit, though, I'm still a little bit confused about this multi-agent system.
Right.
How does that work?
Yeah, so it's actually quite a unique approach.
Okay.
You can imagine ADAM-1 as this team of specialized AI agents,
Okay.
each with a specific role.
Okay.
We have a biostatistics ML agent that crunches the raw data,
Okay.
looking for patterns and things.
Okay.
A summarization agent that distills complex findings into digestible insights.
Okay.
And then we have a classification agent that makes the final determination based on all the evidence.
So it's like a well-coordinated team
Exactly.
where each member contributes their expertise to solve this complex problem.
Exactly.
Wow.
This multi-agent system allows ADAM-1 to be remarkably efficient,
Yeah.
particularly when dealing with smaller data sets, which, as we mentioned, is common in this field.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how powerful this could be for researchers.
Yeah.
So how did they actually put ADAM-1 to the test?
Okay.
What kind of data did they use to assess its capabilities?
So the researchers used data from a study that involved 108 nursing home residents.
Okay.
Some residents had Alzheimer's,
Okay.
some had other forms of dementia,
Right.
and some had no dementia at all.
Gotcha.
And over several months, they collected stool samples from these residents,
Okay.
which resulted in a rich data set of over 500 samples.
Wow. Collecting samples over several months, that must have been quite the undertaking.
Yeah.
But I imagine that this longitudinal data
Right.
is super valuable for observing changes in the microbiome over time.
Absolutely, you're right.
Okay.
Having this dynamic element is crucial for understanding how the microbiome might evolve
Right.
and potentially contribute to disease progression.
Yeah.
So to evaluate ADAM-1,
Okay.
they compared its performance to a standard machine learning model
Okay.
called XGBoost.
Gotcha.
They wanted to see how well each model could predict whether a person had Alzheimer's
Okay.
based on their microbiome and clinical data.
It sounds like a real AI showdown.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Which model came out on top?
Well, both models actually performed well in terms of average accuracy.
Okay.
But here's where things get really interesting.
Oh.
ADAM-1 demonstrated significantly less variance in its results.
So you're saying ADAM-1 is more trustworthy.
Yes,
It gives researchers more confidence in its predictions.
exactly.
That's a huge advantage when we're dealing with a condition as serious as Alzheimer's.
Precisely. That consistency is crucial.
Yeah.
It suggests that ADAM-1 is less prone to errors and fluctuations,
Right.
which could make it an invaluable tool for researchers.
I'm starting to grasp the potential impact of this technology,
Yeah.
but before we dive into the implications,
Yeah.
I'm a little curious about the specific findings from the study.
Yeah.
What did they discover about the connection between the microbiome and Alzheimer's?
So they used a couple of key measures to analyze the microbiome data:
Okay.
alpha diversity and beta diversity.
Okay.
You can think of alpha diversity as measuring the variety of bacterial species within a single gut. Like a high alpha diversity means a wider range of species, like a vibrant, diverse rainforest.
Okay, that makes sense. I've heard that diversity in the gut is generally considered to be a good thing.
You're exactly right.
Okay.
It suggests a healthier and more balanced gut ecosystem.
Gotcha.
Beta diversity, on the other hand,
Okay.
compares the bacterial composition between different individuals.
Gotcha.
So it's looking at how much the makeup of one person's gut differs from another's.
So like two people with very different diets would likely have a high beta diversity.
That's a great example.
Okay.
Diet plays a huge role in shaping the gut microbiome.
Makes sense.
So you would expect to see significant differences between individuals who eat very different foods.
Right, or if one person's taking antibiotics,
Exactly.
their gut microbiome could temporarily look very different from somebody who isn't.
Exactly.
Wow. It's amazing how interconnected everything is.
It is.
So they analyzed all this alpha and beta diversity data along with clinical information, and then they fed it all into ADAM-1 and the XG boost model.
Yes.
What did they find?
Aside from ADAM-1's remarkable consistency,
Yeah.
they uncovered some fascinating patterns
Okay.
related to specific bacteria and their potential role in Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
For instance, they found that certain bacteria, like Bacteroides fragilis,
Bacteroides fragilis.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very friendly.
it's not the best.
Tell me more about this bacteria and what they discovered.
Well, it's actually a common bacteria found in the human gut.
Okay.
However, what's interesting is that some strains of Bacteroides fragilis
Right.
produce a toxin that can trigger inflammation.
So that makes you wonder if this toxin could be contributing to the brain inflammation that we
Yeah.
see in Alzheimer's patients.
You're
Is that
there.
one of the things that researchers are looking into?
Yes, that's a key hypothesis.
Okay.
And this is precisely the type of insight that ADAM-1 can help us uncover.
Okay.
By analyzing the microbiome data in
Yeah.
such a detailed way,
Hmm.
it can pinpoint specific bacteria that might be playing a role in the disease.
So it's not simply about having an imbalance in the gut,
Right.
but it's about identifying the specific culprits,
Exactly.
the microbial troublemakers.
Sure.
This could totally revolutionize how we approach treatment.
Absolutely.
What are the implications if we can successfully target these troublemakers?
That's where things get really exciting.
Okay.
If we can identify the specific bacteria involved,
Yeah.
it opens up this whole range of possibilities for treatment.
Okay.
Imagine being able to manipulate the gut microbiome
Yeah.
through dietary interventions,
Okay.
probiotics,
Yes.
or even targeted medications
Yeah.
to reduce the abundance of harmful bacteria
Right.
or promote the growth of beneficial ones.
It's incredible to think that we might be able to influence Alzheimer's through the gut.
Yeah,
It almost feels like science fiction.
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But the potential applications extend far beyond Alzheimer's. Think about all the other conditions that have been linked to the gut microbiome:
Wow.
Parkinson's disease,
Wow.
autism,
Yeah.
multiple sclerosis,
Yeah.
even certain types of cancer.
So ADAM-1 could be a game changer for all these fields.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It has the potential to revolutionize our understanding and treatment of a wide range of diseases.
Yeah.
It's like we've been given this powerful new lens to view
Right.
the intricate connections between our gut and overall health.
I have to admit, before we started this deep dive,
Yeah.
I thought this research paper would be way over my head.
Really?
But you've explained it so clearly that I feel like I'm starting to grasp the significance of these findings.
Well, that's the power of collaboration.
Really?
By combining your insightful questions with my analysis,
Right.
we can break down these complex topics
Yeah.
and make them accessible to everyone.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I bet our listener is feeling just as engaged as I am.
I hope so.
I'm curious, though, about how ADAM-1 actually goes about analyzing this data.
Okay.
We talked about this multi-agent system.
Mhm.
Can you unpack that a little bit more?
Of course. Each agent in ADAM-1 has a specific role.
Okay.
Think of it like a team of specialists
Okay.
working together on a case.
That's a helpful analogy.
Yeah.
So who are the key players on this team?
Well, we have the biostatistics ML agent, which you can think of as the data detective.
Okay.
It takes all the raw data,
Right.
the microbiome profiles, the
Yeah.
clinical information,
Right.
and sifts through it to identify any patterns or key features that might be relevant to Alzheimer's.
So it's crunching numbers and looking for clues. That sounds like a tough job.
It is. But once the biostatistics ML agent has done its initial analysis,
Okay.
it passes its findings on to the summarization agent.
So this is the agent that helps make sense of all that complex data,
Exactly.
like translating technical jargon
Yeah.
into something that we can understand.
Precisely. It takes all the intricate details from the biostatistics ML agent
Okay.
and condenses them into digestible insights.
Right.
And here's the really impressive part.
Okay.
Both the biostatistics ML agent and the summarization agent
Yeah.
have access to that vast knowledge base we talked about earlier.
Right.
All those scientific papers and research findings.
Right, that massive research library.
Exactly.
So they're constantly cross-referencing their work with the latest scientific knowledge
Yes.
to make sure that their analysis is as accurate and insightful as possible.
Exactly. It's like they're consulting with a team of experts
Wow.
throughout the process.
Yeah.
And finally, once the biostatistics ML and summarization agents
Yeah.
have completed their tasks,
Right.
they pass their carefully analyzed and summarized findings
Okay.
on to the third agent,
Okay.
the classification agent.
So this is the agent that ultimately determines whether a person is likely to have Alzheimer's based on the data.
That's right. And it's not a simple yes or no answer.
Okay.
It uses all the information gathered by the previous agents
Right.
along with that knowledge base
Yeah.
to generate a detailed explanation for its classification.
Wow. That sounds like this multi-agent system is incredibly efficient and comprehensive.
It really is. And as I mentioned before,
Yeah.
this design is especially valuable when dealing with smaller data sets,
Okay.
allowing researchers to extract meaningful insights,
Right.
even with limited resources.
I'm curious, what are the limitations of ADAM-1?
Okay,
I mean, every system has its constraints, right?
you're absolutely right.
Okay.
ADAM-1 is still in its early stages of development.
Right.
Currently, it's designed for smaller data sets
Okay.
to unlock its full potential
Yeah.
and apply it to large-scale population studies.
Right.
We need to develop methods to scale it up.
That makes sense. You also mentioned earlier that it currently only analyzes microbiome and clinical data.
Right.
Are there plans to incorporate other types of data in the future?
Absolutely.
Oh.
The researchers are already looking at ways to incorporate other data sources,
Okay.
such as brain imaging and genetics,
Gotcha.
into future versions of ADAM-1.
Now.
This would provide an even richer understanding
Right,
of the complex interplay between the brain, the microbiome, and Alzheimer's.
It sounds like the future of Alzheimer's research is incredibly exciting,
It is.
and it all seems to be starting with understanding our gut.
Right.
Who would have thought?
It is a remarkable shift in perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it highlights just how much we still have to learn
Yeah.
about the human body
Right.
and the intricate connections within it.
I'm ready to learn more.
Okay.
What were some of the other interesting findings from the study?
Okay.
You mentioned that they found Bacteroides fragilis
Right.
to be more abundant in people with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Did they observe anything else?
Yes, they did. They also found, yes, they did. They also found that a bacteria called Eubacterium rectale was less abundant in individuals with Alzheimer's.
So more Bacteroides fragilis and less Eubacterium rectale. What's the significance of that finding?
Well, Eubacterium rectale is known to produce this short-chain fatty acid called butyrate.
Okay.
And butyrate is thought to have anti-inflammatory properties
Okay.
and might even play a role in protecting the brain.
So having less of this beneficial bacteria could potentially leave the brain more vulnerable to inflammation.
That's one theory. It's like having a weaker defense system in the gut,
Right.
which might allow inflammation to take hold more easily.
It's like all these pieces of the puzzle are starting to fit together.
Yeah.
We're seeing how the gut microbiome can influence the brain and potentially contribute to the development of Alzheimer's.
It really is quite remarkable how much we're learning about the gut-brain connection.
Yeah.
And with tools like ADAM-1,
Right.
we're gaining the ability to analyze this complex data
Yeah.
with incredible precision and insight,
Right.
potentially leading to new breakthroughs in diagnosis and treatment.
I'm really struck by the implications of this research.
Yeah. It's like we're on the verge of a whole new era of understanding how to care for our brains.
Right.
And it all starts with paying attention to our gut health.
You've hit the nail on the head. This research reinforces the importance of a holistic approach to health.
Yeah.
What we eat, The medications we take, even our stress levels, all of these factors can impact our gut microbiome,
Wow.
which in turn can affect our brain health.
It's a powerful reminder that our bodies are incredibly interconnected.
Yeah.
It's not just about treating individual organs or symptoms in isolation,
Right.
but understanding the complex interplay between different systems.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And this understanding is becoming increasingly critical
Yeah.
as we face the growing challenge of Alzheimer's disease.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive.
Thank you.
I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for the gut microbiome
Yeah,
and its potential impact on brain health.
I'm glad to hear that. It's a fascinating field with immense potential for improving human health. I bet our listener is feeling just as inspired as I am to learn more.
I hope so.
For anyone who wants to explore further, where should they go?
The original research paper we've been discussing is a great place to start.
Okay.
We'll be sure to include a link in the show notes.
Wonderful.
Additionally, the AD Knowledge Portal
Okay.
and the Alzheimer's Disease Neuroimaging Initiative, AD&I websites,
Right.
offer a wealth of information about Alzheimer's research.
Wonderful. We'll make sure to provide those links as well. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of the gut microbiome and its connection to Alzheimer's.
It's been a pleasure.
I'm so glad we got to explore this together. Remember, a healthy gut might just be the key to a healthy mind.
Absolutely.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.